These concerning findings demonstrate how narcissists' conditions worsen with age. Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for many, the troubling truth about narcissists and aging. Thanks for joining me as we explore whether narcissists become even more problematic as the years go by. It's a question that's been on the minds of many who find themselves entangled with narcissistic individuals. Breaking free from these relationships isn't always easy, especially when factors like shared children or familial ties are involved. But here's what we're here to uncover. Do narcissists mellow out with age, or do they ramp up their troublesome behavior? Well, buckle up, because we're about to spill the tea. Regardless of their age, narcissists are perpetually hungry for validation and admiration. But as they rack up more years on the clock, older narcissists often resort to even more destructive tactics to get their fix. They revel in causing pain and watching others suffer, convinced of their own invincibility. So, in short, aging doesn't refine them, it amplifies their worst traits. In this video, we're going to break down why aging hits narcissists like a ton of bricks. From their insatiable need for validation to the concept of narcissistic supply, we'll unpack the reasons why they become even more problematic with time. So stick around, because by the end of this, you'll be armed with insights to protect yourself from the havoc they can wreak. Let's dive in. As aging narcissists continue their journey through life, we witness a gradual unraveling of their superficial facade. Over the years, their ability to maintain the illusion of confidence, built upon society's shallow ideals, starts to crumble. Unlike those who draw strength from deep-rooted values and meaningful connections, narcissists rely heavily on external validations such as wealth, flashy possessions, social status, or online popularity to prop up their fragile egos. Without a solid foundation of emotional depth, they struggle to find true fulfillment. As time marches on, their once formidable facade begins to crack under the weight of reality. Superficial pursuits like looks, status symbols, and fleeting relationships lose their luster, leaving them increasingly vulnerable. While they may still attempt to manipulate those around them, their tactics become less effective with age. Their dependence on external validation weakens, and the emptiness of their existence becomes more apparent. As narcissists age, we witness a troubling decline in the attention and admiration they thrive on. Growing older means facing a dwindling supply of the validation and praise they crave, which can stir up a whirlwind of emotions and insecurities. This need for validation, which often stems from childhood experiences of neglect or abuse, becomes a vital part of their emotional well-being. Many narcissists carry wounds from their past, stemming from a lack of validation and support during their formative years. These early experiences shape their sense of self-worth and their ability to navigate their emotions. As they age, they may shift their focus from seeking approval from close relationships to seeking validation from society at large. However, their obsession with superficial achievements and material possessions often leaves them feeling empty and unfulfilled. As their outward personas begin to lose their shine with time, narcissists are left grappling with a deep sense of inadequacy and insecurity. The pain of unresolved emotional needs becomes more pronounced, threatening their emotional stability as they enter later stages of life. As narcissists age, we can observe a noticeable decline in their resilience and emotional strength. Gathering the narcissistic supply they crave, especially as they enter their later years, becomes increasingly challenging and can take a toll on their mental health. This vulnerability leaves elderly narcissists particularly susceptible to what's known as a narcissistic injury, a blow to their ego that exposes their insecurities and challenges their inflated sense of self-worth. Confronted with feelings of inadequacy, unworthiness, and weakness, aging narcissists often struggle to cope with the flood of negative emotions. Without the emotional maturity to handle such crises, they may resort to hostile or manipulative behaviors, such as lashing out in rage or withdrawing into a sullen silence. Dealing with an elderly narcissist can be especially difficult as they unleash their most toxic traits in response to perceived threats to their ego. Now let's delve into the intriguing phenomenon of aging narcissists and the unraveling of their carefully constructed facade. As they grow older, their outward appearance begins to reflect the turmoil within. The once flawless mask they wore starts to crack, revealing the bitterness and resentment that lie beneath the surface. Narcissists are known for their inability to let go of grudges, and as they age, this bitterness becomes more apparent. Their attempts to portray themselves as heroes or victims become less convincing, and instead, their faces betray a sense of emptiness and despair. Their eyes, once vibrant with arrogance, now seem hollow, reflecting the void within. Despite these visible signs of inner turmoil, some may still view aging narcissists with sympathy, perhaps overlooking the harm they can inflict. It's a paradox worth exploring, the stark contrast between their outward presentation and their internal reality. Now, let's wrap up today's journey and sum up what we've learned. We've been diving deep into the question of whether narcissists become worse as they get older, looking closely at how narcissism plays out in relationships. We've talked about how it affects kids, family bonds, and the long-lasting effects of trauma. And what did we find? Well, it seems like as narcissists age, they tend to crank out the negativity, showing more hostility, manipulation, touchiness, anger, and a sense of entitlement. In the latter part of our chat, we've pinpointed 3 main reasons behind this slide. Firstly, older narcissists struggle to keep up their usual level of attention and admiration. Secondly, when they don't get that attention, it sets off a chain reaction of bad thoughts and feelings. And finally, this shortage of praise leaves them feeling emotionally all over the place, making them super vulnerable. So, in a nutshell, we've uncovered why elderly narcissists seem to go downhill. It's all about not getting enough of that narcissistic boost they crave. Now that you've got a handle on this, you're better prepared to deal with the tricky business of interacting with older narcissists and keeping yourself safe. Thanks for diving into this topic with us, and we'd love to hear what you think in the comments. If you found this chat helpful, consider hitting subscribe and turning on notifications so you don't miss out on future discussions. Until next time, stay sharp and stay strong. Lastly, it's important to realize that narcissists, especially as they get older, become more fragile and vulnerable. As time goes on, they struggle more and more to get the attention they crave. When they face criticism or rejection, they're left to deal with a whole mess of emotions, things like anger, bitterness, and sadness, instead of their usual inflated sense of importance. To protect yourself from their harmful influence, it's important to recognize and distance yourself from them. By understanding why narcissists tend to get worse as they age, you can protect your own mental and emotional well-being. And remember, narcissists may try to justify their hurtful actions, but that doesn't make them okay. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, share it with others who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up with our latest content.